Hello and welcome to Bureau Bites, a regular pod bite bringing you news from Vietnam and the region. I'm Matt Cowan, the Bureau Chief and your host. Thank you for joining me for this quick bite. Well, the Vietnamese government has been widely applauded for its rapid response in their effort to contain the spread of COVID-19 in Vietnam. As of March 14, the total number of cases in Vietnam since the virus's outbreak stands at 53, according to the official Vietnam government portal. Vietnam's population is close to 100 million people. For travellers entering the country and who have travelled or transited through COVID-19 infected areas or have had close contact with people displaying symptoms of the virus, they at this stage will likely go into quarantine for testing. Meanwhile, for travellers to the country who haven't travelled or transited through COVID-19 hotspots, of which there are likely to be few at this point, they will be expected to self-monitor at their place of work or at home. And then there are people in Vietnam who have done neither of the above. People who have inadvertently come into contact with people who, after the fact, have been diagnosed as having COVID-19. Stanley Boots, the founder of Danang-based craft beer brewery Bridges Brewing Co, and his team know the feeling. They've been under house quarantine for almost 2 weeks after it was discovered that 2 British tourists found to be carrying COVID-19 had visited their central Danang taproom soon after they arrived in the Central Coast city. I spoke to Stanley and asked him about the sequence of events that led to his quarantine and the shutting down of his taproom, including how he and his family are holding up under lockdown. Stanley, thank you for joining Bureau Bites.
Hi, Matt. Thanks for having me on.
First question, Stanley. What exactly happened in your case?
All right. Wow, we had a perfect storm of a weekend on the weekend of 5th through 9th of the month. U.S. Navy was coming into town, and we got a heads up on it. So I had all 45 of our staff, including our brewery staff, on board, ready to work. And we had 2 British tourists come in on Thursday night, very late in the evening service, and had a couple beers on their way. Then we went into the weekend with a full crew, everybody extremely busy. And then we're notified Sunday evening that we were on a watch list of venues that these 2 infected British tourists went into. So they covered Bonnet Hills, Pizza 4P, us, everybody. These guys were busy. They went all over the place. As a result, we immediately closed down service. We talked to the customers that were in place at that time. And then the officials came late that evening and asked all of us to go into house quarantine. And then they went over our videotapes very carefully to see which of our staff members had direct contact. And those team members were actively tested for the virus. Fortunately, during this 2-week period, nobody has shown positive for the virus. The tested team members were just fine, and all of my staff are healthy.
And how is life under house quarantine?
Well, I'll have to say the way it was handled was pretty humane. It wasn't as if a bunch of police and hazmat suits came and shuffled us into a van or anything like that. We were asked to go home and keep ourselves in the house. The city posted 2 people in front of our place 24 hours a day. And during this time, we had food deliveries coming in. Fortunately, before this began, we had gone to Metro earlier in the day and had a few supplies, which is good. I can tell you this, we didn't hoard toilet paper. And our days have been very, very busy. So in-house quarantine, you're not allowed to leave. However, We can open the gate, take deliveries. We are very careful to wear masks whenever our neighbors see us. As an aside, you can imagine how scared the neighborhood was, having the foreign family known to be under house quarantine. So all of our neighbors suddenly started shutting windows, locking their gates, and wearing masks and staring at us whenever we opened our gate. The time has been spent. We have 2 children who are studying online for school. And Salary and I have been extremely busy working up plans, communicating with our staff, making sure that we have an action plan for when this is over with. And then trying to also stay cheerful. So some of the things we've done is I'm developing some new products to release after this. And we are, I think the challenge of voluntarily staying home all day is how to stay cheerful, not lose your mind. And also for me, I simply didn't want to start binge watching on Netflix. I wanted to stay busy. So we stayed very, very busy on dealing with company issues. So you can imagine throughout the entire day, things are going back and forth amongst people in the company. Plans are being made. And then I also had a lot of additional work to manage. So most of my day was behind a computer, managing work. And then whenever possible, keeping the hands busy, such as developing some new products that will release this week, products to help our customers out. And so for me, I think the key was to stay very busy and then make sure in the evening, try to eat a good meal as a family so that we don't go crazy. Have something positive to look forward to in a day, a good meal, and then some time to chat. So overall, it has been manageable, but I can tell you at the end of this 2 weeks, I do want to get out. I am tired of being indoors.
So what does the future hold for Seven Bridges Brewing?
Well, Matt, that's the tough question. Obviously, we're going to have to change our business model for the near term. The writing's on the wall. Businesses, restaurants, I don't care how you call yourself as a craft brewery. The fact is, to contain this virus, the government will have to put into place restrictions on people's movement and people's gathering in public. So I have a feeling we're going to go the way of Italy and Spain, and that is lock people down, close bars and restaurants. And so how do we deal with that as a business? Our business depends on 2 very active tap rooms and a distribution system. Our distribution system is supporting other people's restaurants, hotels, and a few convenience stores. So if we don't have restaurants and hotels actively selling our product and we can't actively sell, we are definitely going to have to go to a simplified delivery model. And the question is, can we get volume to sustain the business? And we don't know the answer to that right now. These are very tough times. I imagine that people are going to start feeling crazy when they're cooped up in their house. They're going to want the products that make them happy. And I hope that we can be supplying them at enough volume to keep the business alive. But these are very grim times.
That was Stanley Boots, founder of Seven Bridges Brewing Company in Danang. Well, that's all for this Bureau Bite. If you like what you heard, please review the Bureau podcast wherever you get your podcasts. This has been Matt Cowan. Until our next Pod Bite, keep up to date with what's happening in Vietnam and the region by going to thebureauasia.com and visiting Facebook and Instagram at The Bureau Asia.